Duran Duran is a band that's constantly been able to come back, reinvent themselves with every new album. How did you want to do that after Paper Gods with Future Past?
Well, we always try to move forwards in some way. We're never quite sure exactly which path we'll take, but we tend to move further from whatever we did on the last album. With this record, with Future Past, it's quite eclectic. I think that there are a lot of different moods on the record, atmospheres. It touches on dance music quite a lot, electronic music, and then there's some darker pieces. But in a way, we were just talking about it the other day, and we said that our sort of remit has almost remained the same from the beginning.
I remember as a kid, you guys came through here in Toronto. You played Maple Leaf Gardens. What stands out to you most about this amazing career that you've had?
The albums. That's really our log of our career to us. And of course, the live shows. You know, there are certain ones that really stand out. I remember nearly all of our shows in Canada, particularly Toronto. I was just saying a little earlier, I remember the El Macumbo was one we did on the very first tour. It was a tiny little room, but it was insane in there. And we all were discovering Canada for the first time, thinking, wow, actually, it's quite good here, isn't it? We like the way that the Canadians react to things, and we must come back. And the next time we came back, we played supporting Blondie at a big stadium, CNE Stadium in Toronto. And that was our first encore in front of an audience of 40, 50,000 people. So that was very significant to us too. We, of course, recorded the Reflex video at Maple Leaf Gardens. So yes, we have a significant relationship with Canada and shows all over the country.
What's it like for you guys? Is it still easy for you to come in and work together? As you said at the beginning, you guys go get together and write the songs together. Is that still something that comes easily, or is it something that you still have to work at?
Well, it's easy to get in a room and play together, and something always happens. But I think crafting the songs, at this point, I don't know how many songs we've written. I should think 300 or something. And at this point, you know, you have to find new ways to do things, and that gets a little harder when you're trying to reinvent the wheel every time. So I suppose at the beginning, for example, Simon always says, oh, well, we're just going to make an EP, right? And I said, no, we're going to make an album. And it's daunting for him because he knows how many lyrics that involves. And it means finding new subject matter and a new way to say something poetically with all the criteria of writing a lyric, and for it all to string together as a record. Now, I think that's a little overwhelming at the beginning. But once we get 4 or 5 pieces in, which we usually do, certainly musically, within the first 3-4 days, that's the backbone of the songs. Then everybody realizes, okay, we're on that journey. We're starting our way up the mountain, and you slowly chip away until you get there and you realize we've got it. We've got a body of work.
What do you think the ingredient was that kept you guys together? I think it's phenomenal and fantastic, and maybe it's because I kind of grew up with the band. I have an attachment to it also on that front as well. But what was the secret sauce for you guys staying together as long as you did?
I think a lot of things, determination, ambition, the love of music, the understanding of what we can do together, friendship, history, the songs we've written together, and really more than anything, music is at the center of it. When we get together, whether we're playing a live show or whether we are working in the studio and we start playing, something happens. There's some sort of chemical reaction in the room where we create something that we wouldn't create individually. I still believe that although new bands are not as common at the moment, music's much more driven by solo artists and DJs and producers / artists. Bands have something unusual, they have something unique, because there's this tension and this force pushing and pulling between everybody all the time. And the fact that everything feels so live, that electricity you can't get from just a beautifully played solo piece. There's a danger about bands that's always fascinated me when I was a kid, and it still does. And in a way, I do hope that the younger generations now get to experience great new bands, because it'd be a shame if that format really dies off. I suppose it started around 1960, 61, and then really started to fade in the 90s. So that might have been the golden period for bands. We'll have to see.
How did the lockdown affect Future Past?
The lockdown had an enormous effect on the record. We were nearly finished, we thought, around the spring of last year. And then suddenly, when the pandemic hit, we had to put the album on ice for 9 months. We didn't touch it. We all went back in, opened the vault, and thought, okay, what have we got? Are we still going to like it? Are we going to like the sounds? Are we going to like the lyrics? Are we going to like the rhythms? And fortunately, it had aged quite well over that period.
Does Duran Duran feel every time you set out to make a new album that you still have something to prove? Do you feel competition with the other people out on the charts, that kind of thing?
I always think we've got something to prove, yeah. And that's usually the same thing, that we can make a record that's as good as the other records we've made. It's not easy making a really great record, and you always strive for it and hope you've made that record, and then you don't know until some years later. But with us, we have very high standards, and we just try to do the best we can.
There's a song on the record, Anniversary, and Duran Duran 40th anniversary of your first album was earlier this year. What did you think about that? How did you reflect on that? I mean, 40 years is a long time to be doing anything, I think.
Yeah, well, the strangest thing is it seems more like 40 minutes than 40 years. I think as you get a little older, time really does become elastic, and things that you think were maybe 3 years ago were actually 7 years ago, and it doesn't seem possible. Having said that, for sure, we've had a pretty amazing time together, and we've experienced some wonderful things around the world, shows we've played, people we've met, places we've been to, of course, all the records we've made. So we are grateful to still be together, and we know we work well as a unit. And actually, for the first time in our careers, we decided to make one self-referential song, which is Anniversary, the single that's currently out. And we just thought that some things are worth celebrating. And for anybody who has a birthday or an anniversary with their partner, or a kid's birthday, a dog's birthday, a cat's birthday, those things mean something. And so we wanted to write a song about celebration, which we've never really done. and I think it's turned out well. It's self-referential. It's got lots of little themes and sounds from previous work we've done, and yeah, it's got a good energy to it.